Hello, we just wanted to share with you a little bit of a small collection we've just bought in of Royal Artillery cap badges and one other badge. And the typical Royal Artillery cap badge for the First and Second World War has the Royal Artillery motto on the bottom, the cannon, U-beak across the top, and a King's Crown in this instance, denoting that it was First or Second World War. Very often on the back you might have a maker's mark on the slider, as it's called. And then under here you have some reinforcing, and that's quite common to see that reinforcing, because I think that very often the badges would have probably snapped at that point if they weren't particularly well made. So that's the standard other ranks cap and badge. And next up from that would be the officers' variation of the same badge. And if you look at the quality of this is much higher quality. It's gilded, sometimes with a moving wheel on the front. Same motto, same design. In this instance, though, it's mounted on either side for going onto an officer's cap badge, and the sort of more smooth and more determined back shows it's had a little bit more quality put into the manufacture of it. Now, next to that, you would come to the volunteers, which were units that individuals who volunteered or were perhaps in the army as a volunteer prior to the First World War or Second World War. Again, the same badge effectively, but just this time in white metal, and instead of U-beak, it says volunteers in the top there. So if we spin that over, it's got a brass slider on the back, and the rest of it is white metal. So that's your standard volunteers, and then the variations of volunteers. There are hundreds of variations of artillery badges, but this one happens to say First Hants Royal Garrison Artillery Volunteers, so it's a bit more specific as to the unit and who would have been wearing it. Again, just a couple of lugs on the back to fasten it, but just a simply made badge, but in this time in white metal. Next, I wanted to come on to some of the variations. That's not a particularly nice one. Two small badges here. These would be for a beret or for a side cap, more likely a side cap. Slightly maker marked on there. It's a bit faint, but there's a maker mark on there, and then it's got two lugs to hold it. So different manufacturers use different mountings. That again is maker's marked. And one thing about these badges, the sliders and the manufacturer is always very, very strong. Very rarely were they flexible and cheaply made as they would be in the reproductions you see today very often. So nice little beret badges, sort of 3/4 the size of the standard badge. Next, a slight variation. This one is I am actually not sure whether it's Indian or another country, but it's got a logo on the top there, spinning wheel in the centre, and some lettering there. I suspect it might be an Indian made one. I'm not familiar with it. It's well made on the back. It's got a screw and a bolt to hold the centre wheel so it spins, but I'm not sure on that one. That one I'll have to look up. I'd forgotten that was there. Next, come to a South African variation. Again, similar sort of theme, spinning wheel in the middle, but this time it says South Africa. South Africa in South African at the bottom there, and 3 lugs on that one to fasten it, and a little split pin to hold the wheel in place. Next, an Indian one. This looks more and feels more like a bronze sort of manufactured badge with 2 little pins in there to hold the wheel on. Indian Army, maybe artillery being the bolt. I'm not an expert on these. I'm assuming that's just the standard Indian artillery badge, but it was in amongst these others and I thought it was worth including. So flat back, sort of smooth construction, and just an interesting variation. And the last one in this group that came in was this nice little sleeve badge or shoulder badge, and just a nice printed badge, and it's an unusual badge you don't see very often in printed form. So there's just a quick glance at some artillery badges, and we'll have something else for you soon.